the AI visualizer is shortening that development time.
Hi, Jonathan. I was surprised by the result that you created by the AI visualizer last week. Can you tell me about that?
It is
Right?
really surprising. So the software that you saw was Vectorworks, which I'm very good at using. But
Yes.
ArchiCAD has also got this AI visualizer built into it. And the AI visualizer, you can take either a sketch that you've drawn, or you can take an image from ArchiCAD, or you can take one of the elevations that you've created or a 3D view that you've created, um, the YouTube you saw. It was just a simple block that I made, and I got it to make a beautiful building, totally unrealistic, no structural analysis in it, but beautiful looking rendering. Um, but there's a real danger, I think, in believing. I mean, it's a little bit like our discussion last week of ChatGPT, and you have to be cleverer than ChatGPT. So
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of people demonstrating this AI visualizer, and I suspect that the ArchiCAD and the Vectorworks ones are very similar, because they don't make the software that does the visualization. So they use, oh goodness, I forget what it is. It's not DALL-E, but it's like that. Solid diffusion, is it something like
Oh
that?
yeah, it's just came out a few months, 1 month ago. That's
Yeah.
another way. Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they use that as the engine, and both ArchiCAD and Vectorworks have got this link
Hmm.
to that engine, so that you can take a visual from your CAD software. They send it through to Solid Diffusion, who then take your prompts and generate a visual. Now the visuals have got no concept of detailing. They've got no concept of structure, no concept of fire design, and but they can look stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you can say add people, so the first thing I realized, of course, is that if you don't write very good prompts, then you get very poor results. So if you use the word watercolor as a prompt, you get a beautiful watercolor rendering. If you use the prompt professional photograph, you get completely different results. If you use nighttime as a prompt, then you get a night shot. And so you've got to be careful about using these prompts effectively. And I guess it's a little bit like that discussion last week with ChatGTP, that if you put in the right prompts, you get a great CV and a great cover letter out of it. But if you put in
Yes.
poor prompts, you actually don't get what you want. And so it's making me think that as we move in our course to the future, that what we're going to have to change quicker. But
Hmm.
maybe writing prompts is going to have to become part of our course. Now, at the
Yeah.
moment, our course is very strictly about the technology of architecture. We're trying to teach people, in the old days, we would call them draftsmen, but we're trying to make them into architectural technologists. I think our employers want our students to be building code savvy. They need to know the building law. They need to know how to detail. They need to know how to draw. They need to, know how to use the CAD software. But I also suspect that our employers are looking for our students to know how to use AI, how to use ChatGPT, how to use the AI visualizer. Although at the moment they're not part of our learning outcomes.
Yeah. 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 It's quite interesting because the AI is here to stay, and they won't go away. Now, what you mentioned, ArchiCAD is coming to pair with AI. Uh, uh, you know, uh, Other software will coming together to use AI built-in engines. So that means AutoCAD or Revit will come together with AI as well. So these students need to know how to use AI tools, and also they also have a basic understanding of detailings. If maybe the photo may be stunning, but what if it doesn't work? They need to understand the structural. They need to understand the nature of materials as well. So they need to have a basic understanding of it. Yes, and also they need to be smarter how to write prompts. This is very important because it's built in with the software. And these Revit or ArchiCAD or other things, they are just the tools, and very common in New Zealand and other part of the world, right? So they will be using day to day, and in the business world, architecture as a business, you need to be smarter than other architect. Otherwise, you will be left behind, right? So they we have been I think a few weeks ago we talked about we have encountered so many changes in the architectural technologies or drafting technologies, and we have to be relevant with all the change, with every change. So AI is another change, I think. So the students need to
Well,
know, and yeah, people need to know that.
if,
Yeah,
if we treat AI as just another tool,
yeah,
and we say that ArchiCAD or Revit is just another tool, or AutoCAD, it's just a tool that
yeah,
we're using to communicate.
yes,
AI is a tool we're using to communicate.
yes, yeah,
So we should, I think, be
yeah.
teaching
We
our
should.
students how to control the prompts,
Yeah,
because that would be like teaching an ArchiCAD how to use the wall tool. You wouldn't dare teach your students not to use the wall tool, because that's just a fundamental part of it. So
yeah.
maybe writing the prompts for good quality output from an AI visualizer should actually be part of our course in the future.
Yes, I think it should be near future, because, as I mentioned, the business need to be architectural is a business. They need to be competitive, and you
Hmm.
need to edge over the other farms. Otherwise, you won't get a business, right? So a few years back, maybe a decade ago, Maya was a thing, because they do generated like a Zaha Hadid styles architecture was very very famous at the time. Now I think AI is another thing, right? So we can generate the photos and renderings within minutes. Previously when we use our traditional methods, it takes hours and hours of it, sometimes days, or sometimes overnight, or sometimes the whole weekends. We need to do it. So based on the how much you want, how intensive result you want. Now it's easier, faster, yeah, and also it's good for the
So,
business case. Yeah,
I mean, coming back to one of the things you said earlier about, our students need to detail, they need to understand structure, they need to
yep,
understand fire design and the building code. That if you get them to model the building in ArchiCAD or Revit or Vectorworks or something like that, then that's where they take care of all those parts. But when they
yeah,
come to rent, so if they build the 3D model in because I saw Jonathan Reeves do this for Vectorworks, and so what he did was he had a complete modeled building. So it had everything. It had the kitchen cupboards, it had the doors and windows, it had the roof, had the structure, the whole lot. And then he used the AI visualizer to say, okay, give me a timber floor, give me professional lighting, make it afternoon. I want to see the golden sun coming, the golden hour, the sun coming in. And and he was just using OpenGL rendering, just plain shaded rendering. But once the visualizer got hold of it, because the model had already been made, it didn't change. It didn't add windows. It didn't add extra furniture in. It didn't change the lighting. Like, it didn't add extra lights. Um, but it gave a very high quality rendered view of that space without changing it. And of course, there's a little slider where you can say, okay, be as creative as you want, in which case it'll start moving furniture, it'll start adding people, it'll move windows, it'll change your square windows to Palladium windows, all this kind of stuff. It'll really go to town if you want. But that's a control that you have. And again, this is a subtlety that we're going to need to teach as to how much should you change for those parts. Um,
uh,
so
yeah,
so there's two ways of doing it. One is you build a block and say, okay, be as creative as you want. Give me a modern building, set in a park-like surrounds, put a pool in there, add some people, make it nighttime, and the block turns into a complete design. Great. But again, it's missing all those bits. And the other way to use it is you build the complete model and then say, okay, can you render it for me?
yeah, yeah.
And that
Uh,
gives fantastic results.
Yeah, that's good. Another thing, I read that articles 10 years ago, and they're talking about code checking by AI. That was 10 years ago articles. So I think another big thing will come out is, we AI is modeling the architectural buildings, and also AI is checking the code or materials and etc. So then, where will be the architect roles?
Well, I'd be more worried about if I was a building control officer, because if AI is going to do the code checking, what are you going to do? You're going to go out on site and do the checking, because that's going to be the only thing that's left until we have a drone that flies around on site, or that case where you were talking about in Singapore, where we actually have cameras on site to actually check to see what's going on.
Yeah, and also you see the Apple Visions, or was it Microsoft HoloLens, and also when you wear it and when you go to the site, it will check which one is not properly installed and etc. That technology is coming, so it is quite interesting how maybe another 10, 20 years will change. It is really, yeah, because AI will check the code, AI will generate the visuals, AI will maybe creating the drawings, maybe another, sometimes some things like dimensions. When we do dimensions, it takes time. Maybe what about let the AI to do dimensioning? Or maybe AI to select the right, because for example, like we have in New Zealand, we have master spec, right? So once we have the drawings, what about the specification? Can AI be generated? Should be, could be happen.
Yeah, interesting, because at the moment I think you can link your master spec specification to your ArchiCAD notes. And I think there's a link. We don't use it in education because it's not for education, but I think that's the way that it works. But yeah, the other thing would be using AI to check that kind of information, so that you start saying, I want to put Jibboard in this room, and it starts checking your drawings to make sure you got your studs at the right spacings, or that you've got the bracing in the right place, all that kind of stuff. But at the moment, I mean, we're at the early days of AI, and we got the visualization. So you and I both are going to teach a paper called, oh goodness, I've forgotten the name of it, but it's 6707, is it? BIM and visualization.
They call it VDC. Yeah.
And that's going to be a great. So that paper's open-ended in a way, and that would be the paper where we teach AI Visualizer, we teach using ChatGPT, we talk about prompts, about making sure that, because the AI is a two-way street, don't forget. I don't know if you remember what happened to Microsoft's artificial intelligence bot on Twitter, but it started hating the world. Within 24 hours, they had to shut it down. And so if we don't treat AI correctly, then there's a danger that it will start to learn from that and start to treat people badly. So we have to treat it well, which means saying thank you and giving it good prompts and stuff like that, so that it learns some respect for people.
Yeah. So don't put dirty, don't make the information dirty. That's how they call
complain.
it. Yeah. Don't swear to AI.
So coming back to the AI Visualizer, I think it's because it's only been out for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
So in a couple of months' time, it's going to be better. It's going to be faster. I'm really looking forward to the results that we could get.
Yeah.
I just haven't got enough time to play with it.
Yeah.
I mean, to wrap up, this is now a new tool that we've got, that our students have got access to. It used to be Twinmotion, and but that still took a lot of work. The AI Visualizer is shortening that development time and giving you better ideas or quicker results, because it takes seconds now to generate a rendered view.
Yeah.
It is so quick.
Yeah. Well, it's, as I mentioned, AI is here to stay, and we need to adjust our design and the creative part, and let's see how it will go.
And adjust our training.
Yeah, just the training. Yeah, cool.
All right, thanks, Ethan. That was really interesting.
Thank you, and see you another week again.
Yeah, next week. See you later.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
See you later. Bye.